let's get the easy round muna. Let's get the easy question out of the way. Paano mo kino-coach si Brandon Bates? Knowing he dates your daughter. Actually, nalaman ko lang yung storya na yon because of our producer, si Isay. She's behind the camera. Dahil mahilig sa TikTok, coach. Doon ko lang nalaman kasi si Rocio, she's on TikTok, diba? So, and si Isay was the one who told me na they're dating pala. So sabi ko, ha? Competitive player ni coach.
Actually, nakakatawa doon. Walang may alam sa team, diba? Siyempre, malalaman ko rin yun kasi misis ko, si Ria, kausap rin yung si Ate Rocio. And then, sabi ko, paano ko gagawin ito, diba? Kasi alaskado rin ako nito. Players, coaches. I think, yung first na sinabi ko yata kay Coach Norman, sabi ko, Coach, may Tapos, imbes na, he'll feel for me or worry siya. Alam mo yun, parang grade school kami na tinawanan niya ako. sabi ko, and then, I was just thinking to myself, one day, after game, kumain kami sa labas, kasama siya. Sabi ko, labas ko na lang to sa picture para isang kantsawa na lang the next day, di ba? So, sabi ko, iniisip ko rin, and then I posted. Right when I posted it, yan na, mga players, sila Bongkito, sila Elaine, sila Nu, and it's fun, but I think, you wish well for your daughter. She's an adult, she's 21. Very proud of Rocio. She dorms, she commutes in Ateneo. She's very driven. And then, strong person nga. And then, I just saw Brandon before nag-court siya kay Rocio. So, a lot of good things with Brandon. He's, his feet on the ground, very humble. Nakikihalo sa lahat. Very, very classy individual, diba? So, you don't know where it'll materialize, but I'm happy for them, diba? Para ako, minsan, I ref in practice and you get favor diba? Kasi so minsan, hindi ko talaga siya piniputon kahit hinahammer na rin siya.
Talaga?
Pinapabaya, para sa walang favorites, diba? But I think anywhere you go, you have to get mad or call them out if they're not doing well, diba? So I think that's the best thing I can do, right? But nakakatawa lang kasi nakikita ko na siya sa practice. Minsan, kakain kami sa labas, kasama pa rin namin.
So, babangkuin mo ba si Brandon?
Eto yun, sinabi, once naging girlfriend niya si Rocio, biglang gumanda yung laro niya.
Yun pala
Because before election, nung playoffs, tinutukso nga namin si Rocio, sabi namin, tinatakot niya, takutin mo So, it's a joke around the house, but he's playing well. And, honestly, I don't think he knew how big the stage was. Kasi yung rivalry namin ng Ginebra, we're always on the receiving end, right? But in fairness kay Coach Nenad, the older vet's talking to Brandon also, lumabas yung game niya. And I think he was pivotal. He was able to match up with, a lot of really experienced winners on the other side, diba? So, he held his own. We're proud of him. And yun lang, mas madaming pressure ngayon sa kanya.
X-Factor coach parang nawala kasi siya nung parang nung Commissioner's Cup, I think he was injured. Tapos nung Philippine Cup talaga siya nagpakita, the latter stage.
The funny thing there, he was playing well. Malas si Brandon, when he first came in, after that, he went back to Australia. Kasakit siya doon, belly, stomach, di siya sumama sa Doha. When he came back, he was supposed to play and he was playing extremely well. Biglang, he was on the side, he was mad at himself, sinipan niya yung cement wall. Kasi sa Meralco, itim lahat yun So there's some walls there that are wood, there's some walls na semento. Pag tama niya, na-tear yung MCL niya, na-sprain.
Freak accident parang.
Freak lang. And he was playing so well, Carlo. Like, I could see already that he will help Raymond, Kyle, Norbert, because bira ka makikita ng guy that tall but quick. If you notice the way he runs, parang sprinter So, then malas, he didn't. And then, eventually, now, he started to play. And, hulog siya ng langit. He got picked 8th. I think if he came to the draft, because of his size, maybe he would have been taken earlier. But because he didn't come to the draft and he had things in Australia, siguro nahulog siya going up, right? I think some teams were also scared to get
because
him.
of his injury, ano.
The rumor was he wasn't sure to be in basketball. Parang nag 3-on-3 siya, his manager, anak ni Coach Eric Altamirano,
Anton.
si Anton was saying that he wasn't sure about being a player.
Okay.
Parang you come to a point in your life if there's something else to do, diba? Nagbarista nga siya.
Coach. Yes, coach.
And then, so teams were hesitant to get him, maybe because long-term, madaming ganun, diba? A lot of foreigners, they're there, then they probably don't think it's gonna happen. They go back to where they grew up. So, everything fell into place, and I think what was nice was, aside from yung Ginebra, San Miguel. Like, Jumar is so dominant, right?
Yes,
you can't, hindi mo pwede siyang, kung 1-1, walang makaka-1-on-1 sa kanya. So, it was multiple guys na pinagtulungan, Kyle, Raymond, Norbert, and then Brandon. Right? Kasi the Kraken, if you have 2 guys on him, those 2 guys will get tired with him. Right? But if you have 4 guys, diba, and you're really going all out, mapapagod rin. And could have gone either way. If he made that 3, maybe we enter game 7, di mo alam, right? So
yun, mamaya pag-usapan ba natin yung mga serious stuff. But now, since you mentioned, nasimulan natin with your family, Rocio, pag-usapan natin your 3 other kids. Coach Luigi is a dad of 4, syempre dad of 4, 2 sons, 2 daughters. Yung, mo coach, di ba, your 2 boys are playing
in Zobel,
si Mikel.
Si Mikel, he's
16 years old.
He's trying out for the UAAP. He was in the juniors.
Okay.
Then ngayon, yung juniors talaga, yung grade 12 and below, he's there. He's in the 22 players. But, you know, there are a lot there, and he's grade 11. So, wish him well, but proud of him. Proud of the way he's, you know, never really gone out of my way to help him as much. Yung younger ko kasi, I spend more time within Bunso eh.
Sabi, coach.
Si Chabi, Xavier. Pero, in fairness kay Mick, masipag siya mag-isa. He thinks the game. He feels like he talks like a coach. And he really loves basketball. Si Chabi is maybe, you know, his advantages, he got exposed to the game earlier. He's maybe a little bit quicker than Mick. Mick's got a better shot. But yung lamang niya, he saw me with Mikel a bit. He's seen me more, and I've had time. But both of them, very proud of them sa Sobel. Chabi's 11. Yun lang, naka-glasses siya palagi. So, maporma.
Batang PBA coach, di ba? Naglaro din siya.
Yeah. He was proud of him. We had to leave. He played that last game, but he played well. He was highest pointer both games. And then may isa pa ako, si Raquel.
Yes, coach. Volleyball naman, coach.
Volleyball, yeah. She's 13, but she's tall, Carlos. She's like, I think the doctor said baka may chance yan mag 5'9".
Wow, okay.
5'9", 5'8", 5'10". But she's 13 now and she's taller than Ria. Siguro mga an inch and a half. So, mga nasa 5'4" na, 5'5".
Si Mikel, mahabol ka na yata sa height ring, coach.
Mikel's almost as tall as me. Pero ganyan din ako dati. Well, a little bit like my father-in-law. Payat rin yung father-in-law ko. My dad, payat. Ako, payat. So, alam mo yan yung alanganin na stage. So, but we're, you know, I really look forward to my coming home to them. Like, they're my best friends.
Good.
I'm very passionate about them with them. And sometimes that's the thing. Like, as a coach, diba, I think also that you have to be passionate, you have to do things. Pero when it's family, it's also like that. And it's hard. It's like, sometimes as a coach, you know what to do on the floor, right? Alam mo yun. But when you get to the house, iba rin eh. It's different when you handle the kids. They're all different. If you try to coach them and make them sermon, it's not everybody's open to that.
Yes, coach.
Parang si Ria, I have to give it to her. My wife, she knows how to
balance it.
To balance. She lets them talk. She's allowing them to get out. So, I think I have a lot of learning to do when it comes to parenting. But I listen. I listen, and it's a good it's a good mix, Ria and I.
Yun nga, coach, nabanggit mo yung pag-sermon sa kanila, di ba? Yun, as a coach, gaano ba kahirap na to tell them that they have weaknesses that they have to work on?
I think that's probably my strength and my weakness. Kasi as a dad, ayaw mo i-sugarcoat. So, dediretsuhin ko sila, diba? And sometimes when you say that, if you're a girl, sometimes it's hard to hear, right? For the guy naman, you have to balance it out maybe and point out also their good points. Tapos, few things on the things to improve, diba? But sometimes kasi as a coach, you call out things that you nip it in the bag kagad pag may masamang nangyari or nakikita mo yung lack of something per se, unahan mo na eh. And I think that helps me as a coach. But with this, sometimes it's different, you know, and I realize that, diba? So, and it's hard as a father. Like, I played basketball, biglang sila nagba-basketball. So, the pressure's on with them, diba? So, I always ask them, is this what you want to do? There are other things. As a father, you want them also doing what they want, diba? So, di ko sila pinipilit. But now that they're into it, I also feel my juices na, kailangan gawin mo rin to. May mga advice rin na you're not gonna be good at that if you don't put in extra work. Diba?
How do you compare, coach, being a dad sa pagiging coach?
It's different. You know, a coach, there are different batches on that. Like you have collegiate, you know, high school where you have to be stricter. I think the pros you have to also, but they're more adults, diba? So there's a balance there in what you do. Yung dad kasi, ano yun eh, it to me it's so much joy being there and talking to your kids right now. Sometimes it'll be good times, sometimes it'll be bad times, but the important thing is you're there, right? And sometimes Siri will talk to me, she's my conscience too, but ako as a father, it's not, they're gonna be good and bad times, but it's the journey, diba? And I think I'm closer to my sons than I was with my dad. My dad kasi I was the eldest, so I was basketball, I was UAAP, I was like locked in, and I was closer to my mom, diba?
Parang hinayaan ka lang ni daddy.
My dad was there, but parang he was probably closer to 3 boys, 1 girl kami.
Okay.
So that girl, si Cheska, got close to my dad, and then me, I was very close to my mom. I'm proud to say that also. But it's funny, as you're growing old, maybe you're closer to one, and then as tumatanda ka, minsan you go to the other one, diba? So I've reconnected with my dad a lot. Like now that I'm a coach or something on Sundays, I try to make time to see him. But yeah, I think it's different stages. Like yung eldest ko, when she was about, si Ate Rocio, 13, 14, 15, that's the awkward stage. So parang nakikita ko, I was daddy's girl, and biglang all of a sudden, nung 13, 14, anything I said, ayaw na niya, may mga phone. Okay. And then now, my younger one is also like that. But as they go older, parang they come back. They come back. So Rocio now is 21. Sometimes she'll check on me, nakakagulat to, parang she'll do that, right? So I'm just coasting through also, seeing that I'm not gonna be perfect. You know, my intentions may be good, but it might not be the right thing to say at the time. But I think just staying connected, you know what I mean, and just being yourself. Like Ria's a different person, right? My wife, I'm a different person. But the important thing is they know that you care and that you're there, right? So, yeah.
Yung coach, nabanggit mo na, let's go to the basketball stuff. Okay. Nabanggit mo kanina yung pagiging college coach. Siyempre, you started in college. You were the youngest UAP coach in history. History ba? 23? Grabe, 23
I was
coach.
22 actually. I was 22 when I took that. But God helped me at that time. You know, I was so honored to do it. Maganda rin kasi when I out of LaSalle, I had the chance to coach Southridge.
Yun nga.
So, para school, right? Near here.
Dito lang.
And I had 6 a.m. practices. Marco Benitez was there. Tito Noel was my ninong. He offered me, Ed Valmorida, tenista yon. He interviewed me for the job, and that was my first job sa Southridge. And then, I had basketball camps. I think I had 200 kids from Zobel here. Parang, yeah, because UAP, and then maybe, you know, I was young, so they wanted me with the kids. And then, yeah, then after that, things opened up. I had
Adamson, coach.
Adamson, but before Adamson, Cebuana Lulier.
Nauna pala yun, Cebuana.
1 year, and
Okay.
we did very well. We met, the funny thing, Alex Compton, who became my assistant in Duelas, Alaska, were in Manila Metro Stars. They were undefeated. I was with Tonichi Ituri. John Henry Lulier was the owner there. And we met in the finals. Don was there, Hontiveros.
Gems, siyempre, Gems superstar.
Yeah. And then Adamson came into the picture together with Alaska. And to me, it was a challenge kasi, syempre, how many people get the opportunity to coach a UAAP team, right? My loyalty at the time was Lasal kasi my dad, Lasal. Coach Lasal, Lasalista kami, ako, Lasal. And then, Adamson called and there was an opportunity. So I grabbed it and kawawa yung kids yun because I wasn't at my best pa. I was just starting out. So kalaban mo sila Jolly pa. You know, Coach Eric Del Rosario, you know.
Mga veterano na talaga.
Derek Pumaren with France. So, mga veterano and good coaches, right? And then, I realized at the start, wala pa kaming gym nun. Kasi Adamson, ginagawa pa nun. So, we were outside and you need to recruit. So, eventually, I told Adamson, I talked to them, I said, there was something here I noticed. We were paying tuition for PE. So, when I talked to Father Max, I said, Father, itong do we have, because I wanted to improve the gym a bit. And he told me, no, we have savings.
Yeah. Okay.
And they had a ton of savings. So I said, I kind of broached it. I did some research. FEU at the time, nung nag-champion sila, yung enrollment dumadami. The most enrollment for Adamson in that whole span was the time Kenneth Marlo went to the finals.
Okay.
So my thing there is, let's improve this, kasi it's not only for the team, it's also for the school. Once that gym was made, I was able to get players. So my first 2 years, we couldn't win. And it was such a learning experience for me. Kasi humbling
Yes,
absolute. Champion ako with James App, Southridge. We were in the finals against San Beda. In La Salle, I was always in the finals. So when I came in there, I realized it wasn't easy. Diba? And there was a time, I remember Ninoy, iikot yan Isa lang yung entrance nun So, kailangan magpakita ka after the season, diba? But, that really motivated me to do better, to recruit, to really look around, to look at myself. It was a really tough time for me. And then, Rio was very supportive. Eventually, I turned things around, got the players I wanted. Our last year, in fairness to them, we made 3 finals. We won the university games. We lost to Father Martin sa Tulasal. That was a strong team with Cortez, Cardona, everyone. And then Coach Louis Letran, talo kami. Mika, last second shot, Boyet Bautista.
Finals din yan, Coach.
Finals din yun. And then we moved to the UAP. In the UAP, we were doing well. I think we were 4-1. LA took that step back 3. My point guard got injured, si Tagupa Banban.
Yeah.
And I wish I knew more now. I'm more experienced. I've been open to a lot of great coaches out there, picking their brain, being challenged in the PBA, doing my role. So that to me kind of opened it. Then right after that, things started to work. Cebuana, we were both in the finals. And then very grateful, 25 years, Carl, in the PBA. That's
Wow.
really, really hard. And
Siyempre.
proud to say, my first 2 years as a head coach, we won championships. We won in Alaska, and now here, right? But I'm a little bit more guarded now because I knew when Alaska came in, you realize things that it's hard to win again. There's a lot demands from you, a lot of things that you have to make sure you check with your players, you back up your staff, you police each other, you find ways to make sure that you're not scouted as much. Guys are at the top of their game. Who are we bringing in? So I think from that experience now, moving in with Coach Nenad and them, I'm really excited about what the future holds, right? We don't, it's a different time sa PBA. Like, I know that if you're successful, you're not gonna be at the top 3, top 4 pick, right? And I've been with Meralco. This is my 11th year, my first full year as a head coach, helping Coach Nenad. But our highest pick was 4th. After that, after Sinusam, ano na yan?
Puro
6 to
latter
10,
part na.
right? And you look at the other teams who built, they always have the top 4 or 5 picks. So the quality is there, diba? So, we've had to do some things. In fairness sa management, we've had to make some trades. We've had to develop from within. But we're really proud of how everybody has turned out, diba? So we don't want to make this just one championship. We have a lot of work to do, a lot of keeping each other, policing each other in terms of being better people, being better, open-minded to things, understanding things, being have more grit in terms of expectations of each other, and understanding we have to evolve. Like you're good at something, but eventually people will figure it out. So those are things in my mind. I know when it's a break time, nag-break talaga kami kasi kailangan din namin yun, diba? But now this is gonna be a brutal, siguro 9-10 months. And brutal, but this is something that we want. We should embrace it, right? We're excited about it, even the ESL. So, gonna be busy.
Sabi nga nila, Coach, di ba, winning a championship is one thing, but defending it is another. Parang mas ganun kahirap yung ano. But yun nga, Coach, na going back to your Adamson days, as Adamson coach, 23 years old, 22 years old, sabi mo nga, yung time na first 2.5 seasons mo, you were winless in your first 33 games ba? Tama ba yun, Coach?
Something like that. 31, 30,
basta around 30 games, winless in your first around 30 games. Was there ever a point, Coach, na naisip mo na coaching wasn't for you?
I was challenged. I didn't want to give up. I think once you quit, then that's the thing, right? But I felt good about that third year when I got the recruits, diba? So I wish I had more experience. And I can see sometimes teams gamble on getting coaches who have no experience. So they may be good announcers or they may be good players, and then they're thrown in there, and it's hard. It's hard. There've been a lot in the PBA that can talk the talk as an analyst or as a player, and then you get there and it's totally different, right? There's a lot of things that you have to do, that sacrifices of, sometimes you're gonna be by yourself in the house doing your work. Like you do your work, you take a lot of pride with your videos and doing the editing. So those are things that people don't see, diba? And it's tough. But I always try to look at it. Are we improving? Right? Are we improving? Am I a coach that knows everything? I didn't know everything. Am I a coach that needs to go through experience to do this? Is the fight fair? Do you have better talent than the other team? No. Are you a more experienced coach than the other team? No. Do you have the other resources that the other teams have? No. But can you make these guys better? Can you have little victories? Right? Normally, when you're a coach that doesn't win after 1 year, you're out. Right? I'm glad my players had my back. The school had my back, but the little victories of the games were closer, right? So the people in basketball can see that you're slowly getting, these guys are able to recruit that, right? You got a Ken Bono, you got a Mark Abadia, Patrick Abahog. So all these things kind of fell in, and then that third year, it was just a matter of time. I think it was our second or third game where we beat teams, right? But looking at the game today, it's so much faster. And, I feel I'm so blessed that I've been exposed to not only the game, but other co-coaches and coaches I work with, even younger than me and old. And you learn things. So I think if you ask me that in terms of quitting, the one time I thought about that, I think I was with Alaska. And at the time, I wasn't spoiled with my dad. Tim Cohn hired me. People think that si dad ang nag-hire sa akin.
Exactly.
But as an assistant, I was doing okay because I had Adamson and Alaska. But after a while, I realized the salary was an issue because I was having kids already. Right? So there's always that thing, you know, I have relatives sa States, I have relatives in Australia, in Europe. So, pati si Ria, may mga, ano siya, also in Australia, also in Canada, States. So, napaisip na, like, when you're young and you still, the kids are, you have one and you can still move, that's always on your mind. When you're, I think when it's your first time, your first paycheck, wala pa yun. You're just enjoying, you're there. But when you realize you have more responsibilities, you kind of think 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And truthfully, it really entered my mind. I really thought about moving, and then
ano yung first year mo na Alaska? Or
a little bit into it. Maybe my third or fourth year, where I was doing a lot of work. I was doing coverage. I was doing Alaska. Then I was doing Adamson. But after a while, I realized the main thing was Alaska, right? So, and I was happy. I was grateful to them. But I don't think my dad, because I was his son, was gonna give me the same salary, right? But I was very grateful. I was with Coach Tim. And then things worked out. Eventually,
what made you stay, Coach?
they gave me the raise.
Parang
ano rin na, I don't know, siguro through prayer. You know, my mother-in-law, my mom, they're very prayerful. I wasn't that prayerful, but they'd force us to pray, and then I realized na it just happened. So there was a little bump up, and I said, okay. And then eventually, things started to fall in place. Cebuana was together with Alaska. I got some success there, and then I got more responsibility all around. So that was a big sign for me na sometimes I want it. I don't want to just be in the corner, get my paycheck, and not feel that I had a purpose. Feel that I have pressure on me. I like the pressure also. So when that started to move, and then okay, dito na kami. And then, you know, grateful that I was able to coach Alaska and now Meralco, right? I almost had a chance with San Miguel. That's another story. But that was really so close to happen. But
when was that? After Alaska?
After Alaska, so which between the Talk and Text MVP group, Mr. Pangilinan, so, and then San Miguel. At the time, it was Boss Robert Nun and Al Francis were there. But Boss Robert gave me a call, told me to go to the Sun. When they say that, that means you take it, right? And then at the time, I kind of already was talking to the MVP group because this was there and I already had that in. But could have been.
MVP right? Group yun na makipag-usap sa'yo?
Yeah, they called me when I was covering the games, and then I didn't know where I was gonna be, but they already spoke to me, and I liked our discussion, right? And then lo and behold, after I think about 10 days, I get a call up, right? So I think because I already decided when I was with the MVP group, I already had a bit planted inside. I said thank you to what do you call this?
Boss
San
Robert.
Miguel, yeah, Boss Robert.
Okay.
I owe him a lot for that. And then Boss Al also called me, spoke to me. But by the time that happened, Coach Leo signed also already. So he was there. The funny thing was Coach Leo was supposed to be my assistant in Alaska.
Okay.
I offered him the job when Noli Yala was still there, and then na-ABL siya. So he was an assistant there. But he was one of the guys, and I did admit that to Coach Louie. Kasi it was Alex, Charles Chu, Louie, and Leo. And then they kind of decided when I was bringing it to our team owner, dapat si Leo rin yan with Alex. And then nung Leo committed, si Coach Louie yung pumasok. But small world or basketball world. So.
What napapaisip ka, Coach? What if or what could have been kung nasa San Miguel ka ngayon?
I'm always about I mean, you look at everything, right? I'm very grateful with the MVP group. But when you're looking at the time, they hadn't won. Toroman was coaching that.
Petronovela yung tawag ng
Dickel was there. I think they had Coach B-Boy Coach Olsen coached, Satoy. But at the time, you look at them, they hadn't had success, but they had a dominant team.
Lineup.
And I was running the triangle at the time. It's Junmar, right? And then you had pieces. But, I'm grateful. We made our move in Meralco with Coach Norman. I think people don't realize, they're saying it was a long time coming. But think about it. When Coach Norman took over 2015. Next conference, after 1 year, finals kaagad kami. 2016 yata with AD. So in a short period of time, we didn't win a championship, but we were always, pagdating sa year na conference na si AD yung nandun. Kasi when we first built, we realized that a lot of the picks were moved. And they were an older team. I think they had Marlo, they had Kirby. I think Coach Ryan and them moved those picks because he wanted to get strong there. They had Mac. So when we came in, we were saying, oh my God, there were a couple of years we didn't have picks, diba? But I think as the years went on, you also balance it. In fairness kay Coach Norman and Pao, we were able to build. So Cliff was already there, Anjo, but yung mga draft pick niya, little by little, we got stronger. But those first 2 years, that's why it was big when we made the finals kasi si AD nagdala nun. And AD was at his prime. So, he's like Brownlee, he's able to make his teammates better. Ngayon, baliktad. Nanalo kami ng all-Filipino. To me, yun ang pinaka-most prestigious championship because sasabihin mo, you're the best team, diba? And now, AD is older. He's not the old AD, but may mautak naman si D and he knows how to adjust and stuff. So, it might be a good mix. He might not be at his prime. He doesn't have to do that much. Pero we have enough pieces na he doesn't have to do all the scoring, all the rebounding, make his presence felt. As long as he's doing his role, we have other points of attack, right? And we have other guys who can clean up stuff for us defensively. So, you know, let's see. This might be an opportunity for us. And the thing I feel good is next conference, if it's 2 imports, after this ESL, AD will be in shape. So, I'm looking forward to that. Sana may ano na tayo kung anong height limit.
Yung old AD, 30-20 ang bigayin sa inyo lagi ng coach, ano?
But in fairness kay AD, tinan mo yung tao, nakaka-adapt siya. Kagaya sa Japan, 4 yung import.
Like what you mentioned nung press ko nung...
So, nag-adjust siya. Pero yung swerte namin, nakakalaro siya sa labas. So, he's and I'm happy that he got overweight now. I'm happy that he didn't practice from it kasi kailangan niya rin yun eh. Isipin mo 3 years.
Wake up call, parang ganun, coach.
No, nasa Japan siya. Mahirap yun 8 months nagtatrabaho ka lang, then your kids are in the States. So he needed to also just forget basketball, diba? So we gave him that month and a half and we're glad he did that because you need also to refresh you need to restart. And I think now that he's coming back, sana yung timing nun perfect sa amin. When he was 31, I remember 5 years ago, ganun din, we started slow. We joined the Bangkok, the FIBA Asia. Kami nag-represent nun walang goal ng Champions Cup. We ended 4th. Pero yung malas namin, mga Phil foreigners, pinagbawalan because of the password, which is, it's a club it's a club tournament. So they didn't allow Haj, Newsome, JD. So, putol kami noon in terms of everyone. And we beat the champion team of Beirut. Maalala ko yun. Si Anjo played well. Baser. Sayang, we lost to Iran. And we just got, AD was our import. We got another import na biglaan. So, but my point is, after that, he got in shape. And we made the finals. But first, we were rocky with that. So, looking at that, that's, if you want to see something, he gets in game shape when he plays. So I'm saying now that we have games 2-3 times a week, that should help.
Tsaka may bagong weapon na siya, coach, yung 3-pointer nga niya, di ba? Sabi mo.
I don't know about 4-point. The 3-pointer, he can make that. And in fairness to him, he was the one who made those passes for the 3. So, di ba, sa 4-point, di ba? AD can pass. He can pass.
Yun nga. Just yung first shot niya, di ba, I know he struggled early on, but his first shot was a 3-pointer nung di ba, nung first game niya. So,
iniiwan kasi siya even before, right? So, even the people would say, prove yourself. It's like I remember Sean Chambers, si Tim sinasabi niya, wala naman tira yun si Sean may free to, kaya iniwan. But every game, kahit alam niya bad shot, he has to take that one shot to prove to people that he can make it, even if it's a bad shot, di ba? But si AD, if you look at his stats sa Japan, he makes that shot. And that's good for him. So, I think his weakness that he has to straight out work on is his switching defense. That he's not a weak link when he can switch out, that he's able to challenge guys. That's it. If he can do that, and he's not a weak link on that, we'll be all right. Because I remember last time when we played Ginebra, vividly on my mind na si Japet nakaka-shoot sa kanya, the guys were attacking, na-frustrate siya But I think he's more mature now. He does not need to get 30 and 20 and win that way. Doesn't matter. As long as you make your teammates better, as long as you do your role, as long as we have things that are important for us to win the game and things we should avoid, and we follow that, who cares if he doesn't get in 30-20? Importante, mananalo kami, right? But he has to buy into that. We have to make sure that he believes in our game plan and he's on board, right? So those are things that that we have to make sure that he understands. So, but I think he will. He's more mature now.
Okay. Yun, going back to Alaska, coach, when you were the head coach already. Siyempre may mga ano ko din dun yung mga struggles ka din, or siyempre highs and lows din yun. And one of your masasabi natin, sige, star players nun, rookie Calvin Abueva, di ba? If you remember, parang he had a shot of being rookie MVP nung rookie days niya. How was it? How was it handling him with his extremes, highs and lows?
He was a joy to coach his first year. Kasi excited pa siya, hindi siya veterano, I think. He had a lot to prove sa league. He was a ball of energy. I don't think Alaska would have won kung hindi dahil rin sa kanya. He had something to help. A little bit out of control, but I think he was excited. He was still young enough to learn. We had him on a tight leash. I mean, I had some with him where I could feel that he was scared also, but at the same time, I'd push him. Right? And there was one game we had to suspend him because he didn't come to practice. But overall, very proud of what Calvin has done. Isipin mo, he was Rookie of the Year. In Alaska's existence in the PBA, the second best winning percentage was that group. The first one was the Grand Slam.
Wow.
The Grand Slam year.
Okay.
So even yung 1998 ni Tim na dalawang championships, yung isang championship lang namin nung year na yon because we were in the semis. If you look at the winning percentage, we had a better winning percentage than the 98.
Talaga?
So the whole year, that's something to be proud of. And Calvin was a big part of that, right? So had I wish I could have stayed longer, we were, we had a little bump in that first two conferences, but they materialized. They made 5 championships with Alex. They didn't win it, diba? But that was our core. And even before Calvin, when I first came in, it was hard. I'm the son of the team manager. So when he doesn't sign players or their stuff, sometimes they let it out on me. So there's a lot of proving ground sa akin as a coach. I had to come early to make sure you're getting balls. You help out with whatever you can sa video. Sometimes to the point you're an assistant of Coach Tin, diba? So, and there were a lot of things that I realized when you enter the corporate world or a team world. It's just not given to you.
Yeah.
Everything is really earned, and it's what you do every day, and that becomes you. You don't. It's not given to you. Respect's not given to you. Trust is not given to you. Those are all built, and I learned it the hard way too. It was tough at the start, and then when I became head coach, it was tough also because I was a young coach also at the time. Even if I was a little bit older. Some of these players are older than me too, but as long as you know what you're talking about, you do your homework, you feel confident, diba? Calvin, going back to what you're saying, I was just so proud of the team because we won first kami semis, and then that one we swept Ginebra, right? 3-0, and Sunny was at the start. It's funny how Sunny's career, when nakuha first namin si Sunny, defensive stopper yun second group sa ICTSI kay Coach Vance, but I could see skills, like a little bit like Brandon, right? we got him, and then he was the defensive stopper. On our year, when we were annoying that 2013, he was our go-to guy. Everything changed. We were dumping the ball into him, parang Tim Duncan siya sa amin, di ba? Obviously, we had JV with Cyrus, then you had good, supportive character guys, Hontiveros, De La Cruz, RJ Azul. But I'm saying, you look at it, you had Calvin, you had JV, you had Sonny, right? And then good mix of vets also. So I think we did a good job of building the team. You know, if there's one thing I like to take pride in, like I learned from my dad or my other guys, is we know how to, I'd like to say we know how to recruit and build, right? So as a coach, you have to learn that. You have to know how to do that, you know, how to balance it.
Yun, Coach, yun nag-champion nga kayo, but a few months later or a year later ba yun, you were, nawala ka sa Alaska? That was a sudden exit considering, yun nga, you just won a championship and you were coach of the year then. Siyempre, parang medyo ano pa rin yun medyo mysterious pa rin yung pagkawala mo nun. Can you tell more about it now, medyo a decade later?
I mean, I'm honored that I was able to coach. You know, it was a painful thing for my family and us. Right after a conference, I was able to coach again, right, with Meralco. So I had the opportunity, right? But, you know, those were such fun times. I grew up with Alaska with my dad, going on those championship runs. I had a great group of players and staff. I think I was young at the time, and the expectations is that you need to win, right? So I think Coach Tim was winning on the other side sa Sunmade Coffee, which made my job harder. Because after we won one, everybody thinks it's easy to win one, right? And you know, the Boss Fred wanted to go in another direction, so you know, just grateful for the opportunity. You know, I learned a lot being there. I think we were the last team to win a championship.
Among the franchises.
The franchise's last championship was our that last championship. Would I have wanted to stay on and prove myself? Of course I would have, right? But sometimes things happen, and you know, you have to take it with a grain of salt and move forward. And it opened the door. Like, I'm here with Meralco now. You know, I'm excited with this group of guys. Feels a little bit the same in terms of, you know, the way you build a team, the way, you know, we try to put responsibility with other people. I don't think that team also was, you could say it was balanced, but the Meralco team is the same also. You know, you have a good leader in Chris Newsome, a lot of vets who also can lead, Elaine, Hodge, a lot of up-and-coming guys. So it's similar in a way, diba? But you know, how many people can say they've coached 25 years in the PBA? I'm so blessed. I mean, I have 6 championships. I can say that I've worked with the best, with Coach Tim and Coach Norman and Coach Nenad. You know, I put food on the table for my kids. I'm so excited to keep on growing and see where it takes me. But sometimes as a coach, you get caught up in that. And sometimes you need to know when to, you know, get away from basketball. Sometimes si Ria says we're on a date or here at the table. If mamaya mag-uusap tayo diri, diba? She'll say, and my kids will tease me, I'm in the table, but I'm not there. My mind's that they'll talk to me and I'm not listening, and then I'll say what? And then Ria will laugh and they'll make fun of me. Or like, dati, ngayon, Netflix na tayo. But before, movie theater or Netflix, we're watching, but I'm not watching the movie. I'm just locked in thinking about the game sometimes, right? And it's sad being a coach sometimes. It's sad because, okay, when you win, it's there, right? But when you lose, dala mo yun, diba? And after a win, the next day, you're getting ready again, right? So I've learned also, I think, to be kinder to myself. I think for the longevity of things, of you know, reading books or asking advice from mentors. Sometimes I talk to people I look up to, whether it's my dad, my father-in-law, an older friend. somebody who's also coached the game maybe. But those are things that I look to, right? So I've been coaching, 25 years, I think. And I want to keep on going. So, ano yun, it's such an honor for me. And, you know, coaches, you'd like to ideally stay in one place. But your time, you have to make the most out of time. You're not, I think I'm lucky because I've been in Alaska 15 years. I've been in Meralco 11 years. Actually, Alaska 14 and a half. To stay with a ball club that long, you're very lucky. That means sometimes pag hindi ka okay, like players, you get traded and moved, right? Some coaches stay and then after 1 or 2 years, or whatever the reason is, it's not the right fit, right? But I can't ask for anything more at this point. I mean, 15 years and both clubs are very managed very well, top from management all the way down. So, proud of it. Proud of that. And sana, you know, I'd like to keep on a little bit more.
Siyempre naman. Batang-bata pa. Anyway, nakaka-relate ako dun sa sinasabi mo, Coach, na pag kanya nag-Netflix kayo na tapos di ka locked in dun sa Netflix. Yun yung producer ko, parang hindi rin daw ako attentive minsan eh. So, nakaka-relate
ako. Producer boss mo.
Yun ang the real boss.
It's like that. It's something, it's so true. Like, I'm like that. Sometimes I think about it. And you have to know when to compartmentalize too, right? It's easier said than done. Diba? But I think that's good sometimes. It's like, if I get nervous or if I care too much about something, that means you're gonna do well in that because your mind's on it, diba? So,
parang good jitters, parang ganun ba yun?
Yeah, and it's fine. It's fine. I mean, in runs, if you don't have that, you're not normal, diba? So,
Coach, nabanggit mo na si Coach Nenad na let's stay in the present now. Nakita na tayo previously ng mga coaching tandems na may head coach as active consultant, but parang wala pa masyado yung nagiging successful until now. So what do you think makes your partnership with Coach Nenad work better compared to the previous tandems like that?
Coach Nenad he's not only a good coach, he's very observant, he's very respectful. He understands the pressure of what coaches go through, and he knows how hard it is to work with that setup. Even if we're being told that this is a good setup, those are one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah.
He knows that. We've discussed it. He's very good at what he does, coaching and stuff. But I think what I'm proud about is there have been a lot of good consultants there that haven't won. So how do you support that guy? How do you, as a coach, if you're told to handle the board, how are you able to emphasize what he wants? How do you gain respect from him or give mutual respect in terms of what you do? Those are things that are on my mind, diba? And in fairness with us, it wasn't an easy road going there. There was a lot of tough practices. There was a lot of questions we asked. I got into it with him a couple of times. Like really a couple of times.
Sigawan? Or...
Yeah, right there. But I think we respected each other after a while. Now, okay, after that, we're out for the best for each other, right? Like, when we would run practices, he would kill them the first time we were here. And I said that I've seen some coaches like Coach Toraman and some of those other guys where they've had strong teams like San Miguel and they also all got injured, right? He wanted to really drill them into that. And he was making me coach the PB on tour. But I could see what he was trying to say. But for us as Pinoy coaches kasi it's different here. You have to win.
Yeah.
It's not enough na you develop. If you're like 0-10, and I've been there before when I started with Adamson, you have to build. So for me as a coach, it's whether it's a practice game, whether it's a tune-up game, whether it's a real game, you try your best to win the game, right? And I think he drilled it. And sometimes we would have those tough discussions. Like, and then after a while, we backed off a bit and we kind of realized na after that's that tough, it doesn't mean I don't love him or he doesn't respect me and we're not together, right? So we've had those tough things. And it's just not Coach Nenad. I've had tough discussions with Cliff sometimes, Elaine during the pandemic, but I think those things have to happen because if you genuinely care about something, you will speak your mind, right? You don't want to be just a yes coach or and that's what I'm most proud about, Carlo, kasi kami yung first na nanalo, 'di ba? And I think it's so easy for ako local coach, 'di ba? There's one foreigner wherever you are in the world, and I'm sure he's felt that. Where when you don't start winning, you're out. You're not from here, hindi ka naman tiga dito, 'di ba? Yung I think maganda doon was we showed our character when the chips are down. Kasi when we were 1-3-3-5, the players could have given up on us. We could have given up on each other. And I think when he needed, there's sometimes he's brilliant and he's okay, that's fine. But sometimes you lose some games, right? You have to be there. And I think this thing that we did was not an overnight thing, although it happened fast, I can say. But ESL trips, out-of-town trips, debates, him giving me my space when I was, now me giving his space, but timing on when we come in, I think that's really hard to do. So, sometimes I see things on social media, I hear things from my kids, and that's stuff that they say tough. People don't realize how hard it is to coach and find a way to put an imprint. People won't see. Could be a text, could be a motivating thing, could be talking to a player, could be a video, but all of those work hand in hand. And at the end of the day, I think Coach Nenad really doesn't care. Maybe to me, I'm younger. He's at an age where he's accomplished so much, I've kind of also grown to that we don't care who gets the accolades or because we're winning. We all get it. Like at the end of the day, who cares? Yung importante, we're champions, diba? So, I could be head coach behind the scenes. He's doing other things. He's an acting consultant. It doesn't mean I can't help the other guys out, right? But to make it work, that's something na super proud kami. Kasi ilang beses na ginagawa yun eh.
Yes, coach.
Diba? Ron Jacobs, never won when he was consultant. Bilbino, Wolpert, Dickel. I could mention Coach Torreman, right? So this is something that I'm proud of, and it's still a work in progress, right? But I'm glad he's here. He thinks out of the box. He's very different. So I'm glad I was with Coach Norman, and then now I'm picking his brain. And I was with Tim, and then I had Jong, diba? Virgil. So madami na rin.
What's your task, coach? How do you compliment Coach Nenad? Kung siya yung main na nagko-croquis or nagko-call ng shots, how do you compliment him?
I give when anything in the game, I can tell him anything. He doesn't put ikaw lang dito sa defense. With Coach Norman, I had the role. So, okay, you're in charge of defense. You're in charge of something, right? So may ganon. Pero with him, he gives me the leeway to just say anything I want. And he listens. If it's a matchup, if it's an attack point, if it's a scheme, we'll do, right? But he's very big on, there's certain things he wants to bring to the PBA and to the team.
Like what?
He's very European in his ways. So you can really see with the things we run, it's very fluid. It's a lot of movement in terms of defending certain things. So may ganun siya, diba? And more mindset, I think. I can see him, right? He's very proud. He's from Serbia. Serbia is a proud nation, diba? So may ganun siya. But he's also very respectful. And I think Serbia, like Philippines, they're the same eh. they're tough, they have a lot of pride. Siya rin, nagsabi rin sa akin na there's a lot of, they're very respectful. So he says he sees the same things where he can coach. Like he could see himself. First he was unsure.
Yeah, parang reluctant siya dati.
Kasi he was very worried na the rule on foreigners coaching.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit like China. Diba? Then he realized na, he said, when we won a championship, yun na pinaka nakakataba ng puso na. I said to myself, okay to. He said, I've coached all over. Coached in Italy. He's coached in, I think, Germany, China, Japan, Israel. He's coached a pound of places. And he said, the most professional I've ever been with in all Mano is here.
Wow.
So for him to say that of our group and our manager, even my brother and our boss, he's very happy. Diba? Parang, and I think he wants to continue because he likes it. His daughter's about to take school here.
Talaga? Saan?
German school. I think dito sa Sukat, I think. Sukat there, but he was supposed to be IS. Problema, haba ng waitlist. Then Brent pero malayo. So he's thinking, if I go to Brent, might be too far. Then he decided on this school, diba? Sabi ko, dapat doon na lang siya sa Brent kasi he enters Sukat.
Dire-diretso.
Traffic lang. Yung Sukat, malayo yun, diba? Pag Brent kasi, Skyway ka lang.
Yeah,
so,
diretso.
but he's open. And I think it's because we're similar. Serbia. But I felt so good when he said that. He said it in front of our whole... They made me talk. They made our captain talk. And then they said, mayayain si Coach Nenad. So PBA, I would be the one talking. There, they asked him a few words. So, yeah, he said it. He said, I feel I've coached everywhere, but this is the most professional the team I've been with, and I'm very, very thankful. He said this is the best professional team he's been with, and he's been all over. So I was like, okay.
Ano yung coach? Kung victory party nyo?
Victory party in Meralco. So there was a PBA victory party in Meralco, diba? But he doesn't say a lot, but he probably means it. I think he saw kasi there were times he can see the way we do things. Like, in fairness kay Pao, my dad's different from Pao. My dad medyo boss, he look around, right? They're ball boys. When we went to the pandemic in Clark, Paolo would carry bags. He would, the ball boy na may video kami with the taper and everything. He would do that. He's our boss. And I think right from the get-go, nung nakita ng mga staff namin yon, coaching staff, and the players, like he would pick up balls. Right? Normally, if you're like a governor or a team manager, you're on the side, you're pointing, diba? But he set the tone for that, and I think that kind of put everybody in. If he's doing that, lahat tayo dapat ganun din, right? So I never told him that. I just watched him, but when you have, I'm proud of the way he does things, and he's tough also on me. Like, I have scouting things to do. He's very worried about budget. He's very worried about being fair and stuff. But I can see why, because we're brothers, diba? But which is good. I like that he puts me in my place, he polices me. Okay siya. So, it's funny because I worked with my dad as a team manager and Pao. So, iba rin It's different rin.
Okay. So yun, Coach, nabanggit mo rin kanina yung slow start nyo ng Philippine Cup. 3-5 ata kayo nun
Okay.
On the brink of elimination. Natalo kayo sa Converge, who hadn't won yet in the conference. But natalo kayo. But that was the turning point di ba? What do you think was the turning point? What happened after that shock loss to the Fiber Xers na nagtuloy-tuloy na kayo? 3 straight wins nung regular season, tapos tuloy-tuloy na.
I think we had to build it little by little. After that game, he said that was one of his lowest points. He said he wasn't sure of coming back.
During yung time na yan, ha?
He said it.
Okay.
He said it right there to everyone. He wasn't that sure. Let's give me this day, and then I'll figure things out because we had a long break.
Yeah.
So, he told that to the team. So, and then obviously we came back. He kind of said actually to him, give me this week. Let's just focus. Then little by little, the confidence started to build. Because when you win, I'm sure you have to get one. Then, you get two, you get three. Your confidence starts to build. So, I think after a while, it started to get better, right? And then little by little, it built, right? I think the unifying factor was we could have easily gone watak. We all really zoned in. We spoke a lot about backing each other up and trying to do that. So I think with that mindset, after a while, then everything came into place. Parang tagal na rin. A lot of heartaches, a lot of it. So, parang came to the point, let's just do this. Diba? Parang, let's just prove that we belong. Diba? And I think that was the mindset coming in.
Yung coach, if you remember yung you were still a stand-in kay Coach Norman nung natalo niyo yung Ginebra. First time yung natalo in a playoff series nung 2022 Philippine Cup quarterfinals. How important was that series to finally know that you can beat them again? And nangyari nga nung semis na you came back and beat them in Game 6.
I think it was big because Coach Norman also was going through some things. And then yung streak namin na semis diba? Parang nag-streak kami noon na sunod-sunod And then we took a slump a little bit here at the start. Coach Norman was going through some tough things. I didn't think I would be coaching, honestly, kasi Coach Norman said seniority si Coach Ronnie. So Papa Ron was supposed to coach, and then I was supposed to be his lead assistant. In fairness kay Coach Ron, he didn't want to take it. So parang he asked me to do the thing. So out of respect kay Coach Ronnie, if he asks me to do that, I'll do it, right? I mean, you want to be a good soldier, right? Like, I'll support him. Coach Norman said this, but at the end of the day, he wanted me to do it. So I said, okay. And then he asked me to. I was like, okay, I'll do it. And then things came to place. I've been a while. Medyo rusty rin ako noon. But when you watch tape and you do things, you have to believe, right? And you need to do things. So I was pretty comfortable coaching that because I know Coach Tim also a little bit. I've been under Coach Norman. I wanted to do it for Coach Norman at the time. And just the guys, right? But I think it was so pivotal. That was changing, life-changing for Meralco, I think. Kasi, kahit sabihin mo, the best of 5 or best of 7, you beat Ginebra, right? And the chips weren't on our side when that happened. Like, they were still at the prime. We were using guys like Alvin, Paolo, Toto.
Ganda yung mga shots na.
Yeah. And I think after that, Coach Tim kind of changed the way he thought about it. He put Scotty at the point after that. He recruited Malonzo and Gray. So he kind of saw the changing of the guard that we started to mature, right? And I passed the baton to Nu. I mean, I believe in the guy. That was the first time we used him at point guard.
That series or that season?
That season with me, because he was always at 2, right? And we had to get an advantage somewhere. So you have Japet, Stan Hardinger, Scotty, but you have to have a mismatch, a point of attack, right? And then Ellie's a hard guy to guard.
Yeah.
Si Tenorio. So, Nu's a pretty smart defender. He's a bit taller. Can handle the ball. And we let that just evolve. And now they're using Nu as a national team point guard, right? And even in our last series against San Miguel and Ginebra, when AB went down, he was our point guard. CB was more in the 2. CB can handle the ball, but I think that was some eye-openers for us because we tried to do certain things people weren't ready for. We had Alvin Pasaol guarding Stan Hardinger, right? We needed to draw Stan Hardinger out and then hack a shack a bit with him. But, you know, we got enough to win it in Game 3, right? So that was defining. And I also, you know, in fairness, there was a call there, an offensive foul on Scotty. That took balls for the referee to natawagin ng offensive foul si Scotty kay Cliff. I don't know if you remember that. One of the referees, normally, there was no instant replay at the time.
Yeah.
And that could have easily turned, right? But if you look at the video, it was the right call. Diba? It's a big, game-changing. And of all the guys to do it, Cliff Hodge taking a charge, tapos si Almazan hitting that 3.
Yeah.
So that was the start of their building confidence siguro, diba? And that was a good feeling. I mean, I came out of that dugout. My kids were like almost crying. We were hugging because it's tough to beat Rakarl. But I live for those moments actually. So yeah.
So yun, fast forward na sa semis, yun na, natalo nyo sila sa Batangas pa. Batangas yung
I haven't lost to Tien in a series. I haven't lost to Tien. I can say that 3-0.
You've had his number. Personally pala, you've had his number.
Not naman. I mean, I respect him. He's won games also. But in a series, the last one, more that I have to give credit to Coach Nenad because it wasn't just me. We were together and he had a big part in that, right? But as head coach, you can say that you're proud of that, right? Of course, that, you know, I idolize some of these guys now. Tim's one of them, like the present coach have, Coach Norman, then those guys. So do that is you know, you look up to these guys, you feel proud that you're able to do it.
Yung coach, going sa EASL, di ba? You're used to the travel.
Okay.
Did that help in your preparation going to Batangas? Kasi parang iba yung setup nyo ng Ginebra. They went there on the day. So, did that help na mas prepared kayo for away games?
Parang na sa amin yun. In fairness, not naman panis, but sanay na kami sa hardship eh. Like the ESL, waking up tough mornings or the practices we had, we were so used to that, right? So, when you do that, it's not a big deal to us. Parang, why make it a big deal, diba? So, and I think, I don't know if the small gym changed it kasi we've been playing Ginebra in those 60,000 arena, diba? So,
Philippine Arena.
I said that, saan ka makakita ng series na 7 games, sila yung home court.
Yan nga, tama.
That's very hard to beat, diba? It's very hard to beat. But this, out of town, was key for us. You know, it just felt like we knew it was All-Star time. We were confident. Brandon played I think he had like 5-6 blocks. Sinu played well. Parang, I don't think they played bad. Maybe Stan Hardinger missed some free throws, diba? But you could just feel that, parang it was our time already na we've had so many tough times, Carl. Sila palagi, diba? So, eventually, it's nice to break through rin. Nakaisa rin.
Yeah. So, yun. After that, siyempre, San Miguel, you faced the Beermen in their pet conference. Siyempre, all-Filipino. But, you've conquered them. Ang tanong ko, Coach, what's the secret? Anong secret na to finally stop the Beermen and, siyempre, Junmar in their pet conference?
I think there were a lot of factors there, right? But I think what was pivotal, we weren't happy just to be sa finals. I kept on saying that there. We also tried to drill it in them that we have a good team, good players there. Whether where they started in and where they are now, to get to that level, you're good already, right? So, you know, believing in ourselves and what we do. Coach Nenad got them ready in terms of, you know, mindset. We did a good job of attacking their weak points and highlighting our strengths. And I think no amount of work could prepare San Miguel for what type of condition we were in. Mentally and physically. Because physically, bugbog na, we were used to it Move, travel. So I think, the way we had players, the way we mentally prepared for the game already, I think we were ready. But that had to be said, even in the press con. I made sure we told them. And I really believe that. I really believe that we had enough to compete with them. I'm not saying we're going to win, but for sure, I did believe what a lot of people were saying, na it's a mismatch or, because basketball is it's not the best talent you have.
Yeah.
It's the best team. The best team. Are they doing it with the same effort that you want? Are they seeing what you're seeing as a staff, right? Are they getting the system in terms of what you're running? Guys, contributions all around. Diba? Hindi lang kami 7-8 guys. We had more. So those are built over time. Diba? Again, it's just felt that needed to be said. And that was my time to tell it in front of them and in front of San Miguel. So I think that kind of started it. And then when those guys on their own, that locker room, pag nandyan na sila, mga veterano, we encourage them. We like it when they talk. We like it when they kasi they have to also decide on that. So good.
Yung championship niyo, Coach, the breakthrough title, do you think it makes the PBA more unpredictable and exciting?
I think they'll say that because finally, if you look at the last 24 championships, how many has San Miguel, Ginebra won? Maybe a bit of talk and text. 1 Magnolia or 1 Magnolia?
Basta
one
either
Rainier
San Miguel
side,
or
right?
mostly
So,
San Miguel and MVP group.
I think when you look at even the NBA or Europe, rarely do you see a dynasty win, right? Like every year there's somebody else winning. That can be good for a league, right? I can't say it's good or bad. Sometimes rivalries are good too. Diba? Parang, okay, you had Boston, LA, or whatever you had before, Pure Foods, what do you call this?
San Miguel.
Or Ginebra. May mga ganun But I think after a while, sometimes something changes is good too. Diba? So I think it was good for the league. It gives the other guys hope to do that. And I think it's the underdog status. Diba? So kung kaya nila, kaya rin namin. Diba? It's something, and we're not the first guys to do this. There are other people who we've watched through time who've given us that hope. Diba? So, natuto rin kami.
Yan. Speaking of change, Coach, ang pinaka-change ngayon sa PBA, 4-point shot. And you were the first team to use it. You had the first player, Chris Banquero, was the first to make it. And syempre, Jolo Mendoza. And syempre, nabanggit mo na rin yung mga, you have had your initial opinions about it. Tapos nabanggit ni my colleague Ruben na you shot 40%, Coach, of 4-pointer, and you trying to maybe using it as a weapon if you look at analytics nga, di ba? So, ano ba? Hindi ka pa ba nasabi na what more takeaways can you say na do you think it will further open up the perimeter?
I don't think teams will be running plays to look at that initially. Like, okay, we're running a set to look for a 4-point shot. I don't think they're doing that. You might see guys in the finals or something where they're running down, where you might set screens early because that's the range. That can lead to that. You have the Currys and the Lillards sa international competition. If you're a guy who wants to make volley, get some space in them, that might eventually happen. I think the 4-point shot, seeing just the first 3-4 games, is teams are catching it in rhythm. So you can call a play, breakdown happens, and then a kick out. Now you're set. That's a good shot to take, 4-point shot. But to create the movement, then step back, I don't think that's a good shot, right? So it's got to be created where you plant guys around, where now they're more places to go one-on-one.
Yeah.
Post, perimeter, and then you kick out, and then that shot becomes percentage-wise a good shot. Another way you could use it is on transition when the guy is coming downhill because they're switching at the half-court game. Diba? So he can't get free. So how do you get free? If they're a run and gun team and he's able to get the screen early, then that he steps into it. That might be a better shot, right? But as of now, in terms of calling it for a set play, maybe in the end game, but to call it for a shot, I don't think it's a good percentage yet. I don't think the world is at that level yet. Maybe there are a couple in the world. But for us, some coaches said it already. Hindi naman siya, some teams will use it, some teams don't pay any attention to it, diba? But the percentage we had was pretty good. And I think that was just the right amount to take. Right? You don't wanna
sobrahan.
You don't wanna, tama. Wag mo naman sobrahan. Now, if you can show that you can shoot there and you plant guys around, that's gonna open it up. Daming mga players can go one-on-one from all around the court. Post, perimeter.
Do you think it will be a problem for, di ba, yun nga, parang na-unlock nyo na yung San Miguel, depensa ng San Miguel with Junmar. Do you think mas mahirapan si Junmar na to close out with the 4-point shot?
If you can find a 5 that can hit that, yeah, mahirapan si Junmar doon. I mean, if I'm a player, it's easier to defend closer to the basket. Yeah. This is farther. So once you come out of that, he's not gonna have the leverage to move anymore. At that size, At that size. Just being brutally honest, I don't think Junmar, the bigger guys in the league, mahirapan nun. So, depends on where you're leading to that. I really haven't seen anything yet that teams are looking for it. They're shooting it within rhythm.
Yeah.
So, play, kick out. That's a good one. Transition, 2-3 passes, kick out. Yes. But to run a set, like a staggered screen for the 4 points, wala pa. It's not there. I think more than those things, maybe downhill. That's what I was saying. So, downhill. So, from half court going downhill. That will normally happen in transition. Right? Now, All-Star game, we had a lot of that because it's a fun thing. But sometimes, when you're already in a serious game, wala pa tayo doon. So, let's see.
Okay. So, Coach, in terms of the league naman overall, aside from the 4-point shot, what else do you think the PBA needs to do to siguro innovate and attract more fans or bring the fans back?
I think new talent is always good for the league. Like the PBA was full also, but remember, most of our best talent lumuluwas, right? They're going to Korea, Japan. Sometimes some of them are going to the States. May ganun diba? So if you're seeing the same guys every year, that might be something. I think having either a stable venue or going more out of town, and that's a big sacrifice, right? But that might have to be done. I think eventually, in terms of home and away, it's good. You know, when you're carrying a certain province, you can see naman, but that's a lot of sacrifice from everybody around kasi you'll be based somewhere else. So, I think the convenience of having us right now, we're still okay. But if you really wanted to fill the crowds up, out-of-town games might be it. And I'm not sure if it'll, this is just some things off my head now, sinasabi mo sa akin. Out of town, bringing in more imports. Now, can teams afford it?
That's another story.
But you look at Japan and Taiwan, they're probably two of the thriving things, and they have the most imports, right? So, you can get good imports, and it doesn't have to be so expensive. There are a lot of all over the world that will come in for decent amount, and you can be in. And I'm not talking about NBA or G League. I'm talking about there are other leagues around the world that you can get quality players, right? Now, it's up to you guys kung ano yung gusto nila. But that's an option, right? People will say limiting it to 2 conferences. I like 3 because I like tradition. There's more chance to win bonuses. It's more, yun lang, ang daming games, diba?
Yeah.
But I think the PBA, in fairness, maganda naman yung ginawa ng mga board of governors natin, right? They're innovating, they're trying stuff. I think that's good. They came to their heads, and now that it's there, we need to support, right? We need to see. We have to go all in this, and that's good. That's good. But I think the PBA also now is in a different level, Carlo. Dati, isipin mo, there's no internet. Walang movies on demand. Walang extreme sports. Walang at any time you can watch anything.
Yeah. On demand nga, Coach.
On demand. You can go to the computer. You have computer games now. There's so many other hobbies you can get. It's not like before in the past. There was no cable. There was no internet. Diba? So the hobbies were limited. Travel wasn't that easy. Right? You didn't have the NBA in the morning. By the time evening comes, sawa ka na sa basketball kasi sinimulan mo NBA. So there's ways, but it doesn't mean that we cannot have this because other parts of the world are thriving.
Yeah.
Diba? We're an older league, we're an established league, but I think it's good. I think we're joining ESL. I think the people are open-minded. I think if the middle tier teams or the weak teams can strengthen and maintain the guys, I think that also will bring some interest also, right? Because we're also back in the days before when it was Crispa Toyota or diba? But the other teams weren't as strong, right?
Yeah.
So if they can find ways to strengthen that might help too, right? But I may not know what I'm talking about. I may have ideas because you'll never know until they may work it out. But for sure, brainstorming is good and those things. I think I'm just looking at the NBA or the other things. They have quality players all around and they stay. So even the middle tier teams, it's full, diba? So home and away.
Yeah.
Is that's something to think about. New talent. I'm seeing it from Japan in terms of more imports. That's something to think about, right? And it's a world deep. It's like now the Philippines, daming kumukuha ng imports, diba? In the NBA, it's not only Americans, it's Europeans. In Europe naman, baliktad. Teams like Spain or Serbia, na dati panay Spanish dati at panay Serbians, half of the teams are Americans. Right? You look here now, will we open up? China, I look, is one of the old ones that are reserved in opening it up. Funny thing that Japan used to be a closed country. All of a sudden, they've evolved. And look at Japan now in terms of they're ranked first sa Asia, diba? So, is there something there? Did it make them better? That has to be thought of, diba? Dati, talunan yung Japan eh. It would be China, Iran, Philippines, Korea, diba? But they've evolved too, diba? So, I don't think anything is right or anything is super wrong, but it's nice to have these talks, diba? And I'm sure at that level, our bosses, our governors are trying their best also to brainstorm. And I think, just the innovations they try to do now, that's
a start.
Yeah, that's a start, and that takes a lot of guts to do that, right?
Oo nga. Yes, Coach.
So, sa akin, just because if it's ideally people say FIBA should do it, so the whole world does it.
Yeah.
Right? I respect that because our national team has to play the FIBA way. Okay, I get that. The NBA plays a certain way. We try to pattern it either closer to the NBA, closer to FIBA. Okay. But what makes them so special that kailangan sila yung unang maka 4-point? Bakit? Because Pinoy League tayo, hindi natin pwedeng gawin. I'm saying where is it gonna go? They've already thought about it. The 3-point shot is already, easy for most other guards. It's gonna go farther. So, inunahan lang natin sila. Right now, might take some time, but I think 20 years from now, 25 people will be talking. When we were, think about the cell phone. 30 years ago, I said this already, it was just a cell phone. Did you really think 30 years ago that you could have a TV or you could look at anything, you could Google anything, you would play games with one gadget, pay your bills, everything? It's unheard of. We had to line up. We had to go to a movie to watch. We would talk in the landline on the phones. Now it's in one. So my thing is, we're evolving, right? Maybe the timing's not right and everything, but I'm gonna. They did some things. We're here. You move forward and we see. I don't think it's too much of a drastic change. It's still basketball.
Sister teams, coach. Anong masasabi mo na, syempre, you're part of one of the sister teams sa PBA. Are you torn na pag nakikita mo yung mga social media sa fans na sinasabi nila, having sister teams is one of the problems or root of the problem sa PBA?
Everybody has their own opinion. And I can understand why they're doing that. The way they have their opinions, our bosses have their opinions too. Hindi ba? Without them, I don't know if our league would hold. If there are people, to own a franchise, you have to love that franchise too.
Passionate
diba? You have to be
dapat.
passionate, diba? Iba then, they won't stay kung hindi nila hilig yan. So, I'm grateful here if they think sister teams, when we play each other, we want to kill each other. I mean, to us, that's our extra bonus. That's something we look for. I honestly think we're in trouble if the other teams are doing better from our sister teams rather than just brutally speaking. Ibig sabihin we're not doing well, those guys are doing well. So I'm on my toes with that, right? I think what people maybe are trying to say is, if you had more independent teams who are in it to win it, right? So, kumbaga, you're building to win a championship, right? But, each team it's their prerogative what to do. Sometimes, sabihin nila, okay, I'm happy with this is it. But I think social media is a stage where anybody can say anything freely now. It's a different game. So, that's what they're thinking, diba? So, it's something to think about. I think if you look at it, independent teams would probably be better in terms of kung lahat sila in it to win it. I'm just saying, we're part of the sister teams, but I don't think we have special treatment. I don't think we can snap our fingers and get a top 3 pick. We haven't had. So I think, honestly, Meralco is more like
an independent
team. Because we traded for Raymond and Rizal. We had 2 first-round picks we have to give for Raymond. That's tough.
Patas naman yan,
to trade Baser, we got Bello. He's not in the league. It's hit and miss with those things, right? But I think it's things like that. You look at the team that's done really well, and then all of a sudden you break it. I think that's why the fans are saying that, right? So, but it's the prerogative of the bosses on what to do, right? It's a different age now with everybody saying things. Mahirap.
Ayun, coach, enough of the serious questions.
Okay.
You survived, coach. You survived the lockdown.
Talaga?
Pero ito, yung next natin, we're winding down with this.
Okay.
Yung natin, itong segment na don't skip a beat.
Perfect.
Parang, you just have
Mabilisan.
to, mabilisan lang.
Okay.
Mga fast break questions
Bagay
lang.
yan.
Patapos na to.
Okay.
Konting taste na lang.
Okay.
Tayo. So, are you ready?
Okay.
Say, coach. Who would you go to battle as your enforcer? Alaska Calvin Abueva or Meralco Cliff Hodge?
One lang.
Bisa
Pareho
mo.
yan eh, ha? Pareho. Hard eh. Hard. Hard. I respect both. That's so hard.
Okay. Ay, sagutin na. Who takes the last shot? Chris Newsom today or Prime Alaska JB Casio?
JV with size. Boy, that's tough.
Oh, sagutin mo,
That's
coach.
tough. Chris has won more games with us. JV's, they're both, Chris Newsom.
Okay.
Although both are really, really
Okay,
good. But if
disclaimer
you
ka
had to
pa.
give it to somebody, who's tried and tested.
Okay.
Calvin and Cliff are both good, but Cliff has also done damage. They're both good. Those are damaging questions, Carl. Hirap.
Who would you not mind
Galing.
being trigger happy? Cebuana maliksi or bolts maliksi?
Trigger happy. Who would I rather mind now? I think
Who would you not mind na okay lang, sige, tira lang ng tira?
At the time, Cebuana probably. Cebuana. Now, Elaine has to pick his spots.
Yeah,
And he's
no.
more disciplined. So, Cebuana maliksi.
Okay. Who's the PBA GOAT for you?
My idol growing up was Ramon Fernandez, right? Junmar is the more dominant player. So if you look at it, it's Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, right? But I think Junmar has won more titles than Wilt, diba? It breaks my heart. Like you can say, I think Junmar's. What are you talking about? Who's the GOAT?
GOAT.
GOAT?
Greatest of all time, yeah. Overall.
I hate to do this to Junmar, but my idol was really Ramon Fernandez. So
Wala, it's
I'll go with
okay
Ramon.
naman yan.
I'll go with Ramon Fernandez.
Hindi naman wrong answer yun. NBA GOAT.
I'm a believer of LeBron, but Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan.
Ito, coach. Would you rather be the highest paid head coach on a losing team or a decently paid assistant on a champion team?
Decent paid assistant. Champion team.
What's harder, being a dad or a coach?
That's hard. I think a coach. I think a coach.
Wow, okay.
I think a coach.
What's one word to describe the best thing about being a coach?
The one word,
Well, give me one word to describe.
patience, gratitude, maybe
Okay.
one or the other.
And last question, who's the real boss? Boss MVP or Ria Trillo?
Sorry, boss MVP, Ria Trillo.
Okay, and that wraps up our lockdown episode. Coach, maraming
Ang
salamat.
hirap, ha? Ang hirap the first two questions. So, how to do so? Those are all solid.
Maraming salamat,
yan.
Coach, ha?
Thank you so much, Carlos.
Thank you,
Enjoyed
thank
it. Enjoyed it.
Thank you.